Alrighty, y'all. Welcome to Ellis Mowers. I'm doing my usual Monday check-in, and I know I got a little bit of grief about the way that my garage looked, and a couple of live streams from Mick's Mowers. I've been checking in on his live streams. I want to get in on the panel one of these days. Just so happens when you go live on Saturdays between your hours of 6 and 10 p.m., it's like I'm about 5 hours behind, so it's like prime selling time and prime fixing time for me. When it slows down, I want to get in on one of your live streams. Y'all have a great panel. I really enjoyed listening to them. We're almost at about 1,250 subscribers on the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. Just kind of cool that around 1,250 y'all actually want to hear me and see what the heck I'm up to. As you can tell, I've been crazy busy, and by the title of this video, it kind of indicates it. I don't want to brag or anything like that. I'm just telling you, this is how March went. And so I like to use it as inspiration, as to say, you can do it too. It's taken me many years to get to this point. You just can't go right off the bat. So I'm about 6 years into this thing, and of really selling mowers during the summertime. And you get a system down, and you find what works, you find what doesn't work as well, and you just go with it. Now what works is that, as y'all see, I get my truck and trailer and I buy large lots of mowers. I don't go out chasing one or two lawnmowers here and there. I search specifically because people are going to go out and find one or two for cheap, and they'll leave the large lots alone because they don't have the means of transportation to get them, while I do. Anywhere from a truck and just a small 5x8 utility trailer to a big old car trailer out there, which you'll see in a second. These 11 I got for $75. I did a briefing on them on Friday. I'm not going to worry about them. Still haven't really touched any of them. Now, let's get to what's happened this week and this month. So this weekend, if you followed me on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers 09, you saw that I cranked out way more than I even thought I could do this weekend in terms of lawnmowers. They have cleaned me out. I thought I was prepared, but the month of March has literally cleaned me out, which is crazy. And I hope that a lot of folks that watch this that do the same thing are having great times either. This is not a competition. There's so many people out there that need lawnmowers that there could be twice the amount of us out here, and we still wouldn't be able to keep up with the demand. So I'm not trying to tout any competition or anything. I'm just telling you this is what happened. So I was down, these are some trades I'm going to go over real quick, but I was down to, I've sold everything except for basically my hyper tough push mowers. Like riding mowers, everything I had ready, I pretty much sold the previous weekend. So I was down to the hyper tough push mowers. And so what I do on Facebook, I put them on Facebook, Craigslist, Let Go, and OfferUp. The only thing I've even remotely gotten any sales on is Facebook. So it kind of tells me that the other platforms around here in this area are nowhere near as strong as Marketplace. Marketplace reigns supreme. Craigslist isn't even a shadow of what it used to be 3 or 4 years ago. Case in point, back in 2017, I sold all of my mowers on Craigslist and sold over 100. And then went to Facebook in 2018 and just switched. And since I've switched over to Facebook, Craigslist is just a shell of itself. Let Go and OfferUp really don't have any traction in my area because I'm in more of a less densely populated area in North Carolina. I'm about an hour from one of the main big cities. So going into the weekend, I was like, maybe I'll sell 5 or 6. I'll be pretty satisfied if I sold 5 or 6 of them for the weekend. We're going to go over here and look, and I've got many project updates coming. Last week, if you joined me, This whole row was filled with Hyper Tough push mowers. This is all I have left. That had, like I said on my Instagram, 17 of these sold in 3 days. I list them for $90. I take no less than $80 for them unless you have a trade that comes with it. So, like I said, I just renewed the listing on Facebook. I let the listings ride for a week, renew them, and then after week 2, I delete the listing, relist it, brand new listing, because it puts it at the top of the list. And so I put it at the top of the list on, I believe, Thursday night. Friday I sold 5 of them. Saturday I sold 6 of them. And Sunday I sold 6 of them. I work on Sunday, so the 6 sales that I had on Sunday came between like 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. like within a 4-hour span. It's crazy. But I really needed to get these gone. These did not sell quite as well last year because I didn't have as many of them. And a lot of them, folks that came for these, actually I didn't intentionally try to upsell them, but I just had other ones out because they asked, what others do you have available? And upsell them to a little bit nicer mower for a little bit more money. Now that these were basically the bread and butter that I had, these things sold like wildfire. It was crazy. I have never seen anything like it this weekend. Really quickly, the electric mower is still here, or the battery powered one's still here, and the reel mower, we're going to get to this Troy-Bilt in a second. This reel mower out here, I've got to get out and list because, like, as you can see, I've got projects on projects right now, but like I've mentioned, I'm glad to have them in-house instead of being all tapped out and going to search. It's a lot easier having them in-house, fixing them, and then cranking them out. So I've got to assemble a couple more of them Hyper Toughs. But that's all I have left, guys, of the original mowers that I got are those 4. There's one at my grandma's that I got to go get. The electric one, which has the weed eater with it. I still need to get rid of these 2 weed eaters that I didn't get rid of last year. I got rid of the last bit of hedge trimmers. The one hedge trimmer I had left. That's all I have left of the lot. It's the end of March. So in 1 month, I have sold 44 push mowers and 9 riding mowers. I sold a 10th riding mower in February. That was the John Deere LA 105. The month has been insane down here in North Carolina. With the rain in February we had, and then we've had a little bit of warm spells. Like it was upper 80s last week or this past weekend, and people came out in droves. Even in the midst of all this virus stuff, people came out in droves because the grass is growing. People have to cut it, and more people are going to cut their own grass, especially in harder economic times that we potentially could be facing, as opposed to hiring a lawn service. So you got a lot of people moving, renting at this time too. So I'm thankful that I'm healthy, one, and able to still sell. I also feel like I'm doing other people a service because I'm saving them from going to the store to buy a mower and having to deal with all the crowds and whatnot that you could potentially face. I've got them assembled all ready to go. So, 40, like I said, 44 push mowers and 9 riding mowers for the month of March alone, which is crazy. And I was wondering, up until last night, well, how in the world did I feel like I was prepared to go into the spring rush, and then here I am all of a sudden, like, basically all tapped out with just a few push mowers. But that's the update on that. One of the trades I got for a Hyper Tough was a Hyper Tough that was bought last year by a guy. He couldn't get it started this year. Turned that around and sold it the same day, advertised it as, a customer return, because after I gave it a wash, and a blade sharpen, it basically looked exactly like the others. So that was a bonus. These three I got trades. I think y'all saw this one on my Friday video. I got these two yesterday. I'm going to do a video on them. My videos are scheduled out until almost June now, so a lot of stuff you're seeing in this video, you won't really see the in-depth version of it until late spring, early summer now. That's how far I'm ahead on videos because I've had so much going on. These two came together. I knocked off $10 a piece for him. He bought a Hyper Tough, and so he gave me $70. These two push mowers. I try and be fair on trades because I know that I can make my money back. I hardly ever get a bad trade, hardly ever. And I knocked off 20. Like I said, I price them about $10 over what I want to get for them, and so I usually will knock $20 off for a trade. That'd be a $50 mower. All of them are classic engines. This one's got probably just needs the diaphragm and the gas tank cleaned out. This one runs. These two had pull rope issues. This one, he pulled the pull rope, or pulled the clock spring out of it, or the tension spring, and I don't do those. I don't do tension springs. They are too much of a pain, and I don't have enough patience. I had that shroud, put the new pull rope back in it with the handle. It cranks up and runs good. This one had it wound up really weird, and it was really tight, although it would spring back, but it's like it sprung the wrong way, which is weird. So I had a few of those in my parts hoard I brought out, and all I had to do was I had to cut it, modify it a little bit, because this is a classic engine, and this cover went to like a newer type classic engine that had less of a I guess less stuff on the side. So almost seemed like there's a little bit of gas leakage there, but the gas is holding. So what I'm going to do video wise is I'm going to do a 3 for here on these later on. So crazy week, finally getting some rest here. We got a little bit of rain this week, and I want to catch up on projects. I would love to get this LT1000 out this week. This mower runs good. It's got the 19.5 opposed twin in it. Runs good. This is the one I replaced the drive belt pulley on. I finally got to replacing it. The drive belt is glazed over, so I've got a drive belt on the way for it. It does run, it does drive. It needs 3 tire tubes. I have tire tubes on the way. I ordered almost $200 worth in parts last week. So, you do, gosh, $6,000+ in sales, but a lot of it goes in your overhead of parts. And so you maybe make a third of that, maybe a little bit more. I haven't really done a rough estimate yet, but all right. Henry from Mowers and Blowers, if you're watching it, my Walmart had batteries like crazy. I needed some. I had a bunch of cores. I bought 4 of them. $25 a piece. You cannot beat them. I know they used to be $20 and they used to be $22, but $25. Again, there's flat tires on the side. I got the deck. I've painted the deck on it. I've tested the deck belt. What I had to do to these is the blades, the star adapter on the blades were rounded off. And so what I ended up doing is I took the welder and I tack welded the blades onto the spindles so that I didn't have to get new spindles, put new blades on it, have a new blade spring. Still need to clean out this area of the return on the deck just so it moves a little smoother. I think it was causing issues with the deck belt and whatnot. New deck belt, it started to wear it a little bit. It didn't wear it enough to make any difference on it. I think that's all the updates in here. The push mowers, I've got carburetors coming for. I tried to clean this one out, but it started leaking at the needle and seat, and you can get them for like $6 a piece. I just wait on them, throw it on there. So basically all I want to do is the ones that look easy, fix them, and just get them gone, because I need to I need to turn these around, self-propelled mowers. Probably going to use the mechanics wire trick that I've learned from Double Wide 6 to replace some of these cables that are frozen on them. That cable's actually okay, but it's got all this kind of mess on it. So that's all coming up. I ain't even touched them. I basically just shoved them in the garage for right now. The mowers on the trailer I haven't touched yet. The John Deere LA 105 that I sold, the first one that I sold back in February, the guy contacted me and said that it started blowing white smoke out, so I think it blew a head gasket. I'm going to go replace the head gasket on Wednesday. The 125 runs great on one cylinder. The Murray is blown up. I don't have a key for it. I can show you real quick. Like I said, I try and keep these updates under 20 minutes so that I don't have to edit them and I can just post them. This is a 13.5 flathead. I think she's done for unless she stuck a valve. My next project after I get done with that Craftsman there, and then the Troy-Bilt I'm about to show you is going to be this one. Got to get it running right, and a couple other things. It's not going to be too terrible. I got to replace the steering on it, so I got that going on. Story behind the Troy-Bilt. If y'all are ready for this, and that old rusted mower back there I got from my grandma's too. I think I showed y'all that in the previous video. Troy-Bilt pony. Guy ended up buying a push mower from me, one of them Boland's Basics that I got on a trade. He said that he had a Troy-Bilt pony rider at home that did not run. He had replaced the battery, the starter solenoid, and a few other things on it. It's got I thought it was a Lonkin engine, but it's a power mower engine on it. You're seeing a lot more of these nowadays, the little Chinese power mowers. The thing runs great. I mean, I can start it up for you. I paid $100 for it. I think it's worth $100. It needs tire tubes all around. All the tires are flat. But the issue was, when they put the starter solenoid on, they didn't tighten one of the terminals all the way, and so it wasn't getting a good 12 volts to the starter. Put a good battery in it. Put a good secured the power wire of the starter. About 45 minutes of troubleshooting got that one running. So I'm going to wrap this video up real quick. So I just got to do a service to this, put some blades on it, tire tubes, list it for about $5 to $5.50. It'll sell this weekend as long as I can get the parts in. I'm just waiting on parts basically. Postal service is doing good. I'm not even trying to order parts off Amazon. I'm doing eBay only. Postal service is shipping pretty well still. FedEx is way behind. I'm still waiting on a carburetor for that MTD that I've loaned to my grandma. Cut her grass with, left over there. Again, if you want to follow me with real-time updates, I'm at Ellis Mowers 09 on Facebook and Instagram. I appreciate y'all watching as always. If y'all have any questions about any small engines or how I do my business, feel free to throw it in the comments. Feel free to tell me how y'all are doing as well. I love to hear success stories when it comes to mowers because we're all in this together. There's way more demand than there are of us to keep up with, and so we're not competing with each other. We're working together and making some good money, keeping customers happy. I appreciate y'all watching as always. Probably have another update video for y'all next Monday, if not before, depending on what goes on. Talk to you then.